I've got to talk to these people in Washington because it was approximately 1 hour after we were off the air Friday when we learned that Hillary Clinton could be back in deep manure again. I guess that's the phrase I'm looking for. And at this stage of the game, it's interesting to see what's going on. The Democrats all running around and screaming about the man. I love this editorial that I happened to see this morning, I believe at Wall Street Journal, where it says they always tried to refer in the Democrat Party to the director of the FBI as St. James of the Beltway. In other words, that's how they treated him. They considered him to be an ally, and then as soon as he comes out and says, "Hey, this case isn't closed at all," and he never officially, it was never officially closed. There was always the possibility if something new came up, this would happen all over again. We should also point out, way back in 1992, 3 days before Election Day, a prosecutor decided to come forward and take some more shots at the people who were involved in the Iran-Contra affair, harming George H.W. Bush's chances of re-election against Bill Clinton. And Clinton, he cheered it on at the time. So the hypocrisy among leftists in this country. Look, your girl is a crook. And if you go out and vote for her, it shows that likely you have no moral foundation as well, which we long suspected of all of you. And the fact of the matter is that you'd like to turn America into a banana republic, and we're well on our way if this happens. This is just, we're seeing poll numbers come out today that shows she still has a lead in many key swing states. Why is that? It's because you've got no conscience whatsoever. You would be willing to go along with someone, and keep in mind, all of that classified material that was on that homebrew server and now apparently on some of her underlings' computers, you had people like the Chinese and the Russians and Al-Qaeda and ISIS, all of these nasty people around the world looking at that stuff. This is treason. People used to swing from trees for treason. And yet, lefty out there is going to go vote for her come hell or high water next Tuesday. This is, to me, a dark day for America if she wins. Truly a dark, dark day, and it will spell the end of this republic once and for all because, of course, lefty out there is more concerned about marrying horses, cows, and pigs or about whatever they can get from someone else. Oh, where's my free stuff? And we are a country that is circling the drain quickly, and you've got a mass of people out there who only can think what plunder I can get for myself. And, of course, they'll vote for the plunderer-in-chief, Hillary Rotten Clinton. Bill Colley with you this morning on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX and newsradio1310.com. The latter is the website. That means you can hear us anywhere all over the world by clicking on the Listen Live icon. And I want to thank you today for joining us for another round of self-righteous, God-fearing pomposity. I have this. This is from Fox News yesterday. After this story broke, Hillary Clinton immediately rushed out and claimed that she was being the target of a smear, and that's now the talking points being generated by the Democrat National Committee. They're telling people all over the country, if you're a Democrat, this is what you tell your friends in the coffee shop. This is what you do. You call up talk radio shows and you scream over the host and make these claims, and you go on television programs and make the same claims as well. And we hope that enough people out there will be dumb enough to buy into it and vote for the criminal cabal known as Hillary, led by a woman known as Hillary Clinton. This yesterday is Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook speaking with Chris Wallace of Fox News. And essentially, Wallace took Mook and then nailed his cojones to a wall, getting him to admit that, yes, indeed, Hillary Clinton is a liar when it comes to her claims that only Republicans were notified by the director of the FBI that she happened to still be under criminal investigation.
Here's part of what she said on Friday night.
If they're going to be sending this kind of letter that is only going originally to Republican members of the House, that they need to share whatever facts they claim to have with the American people.
Robbie, why would she say something that is so flatly untrue? I have a copy here. It's not very long. It's the letter that Comey sent to Congress. On the front page, It's got the 8 Republican chairmen of the committees. If you just turn it over, next page, you got the 8 top Democrats on the committee. Why would she say that it was just sent to the Republicans when, in fact, it was sent to the Republicans and Democrats?
You know, Chris, this has been really overhyped.
Well, she said it. I didn't.
We were all surprised by this letter. She looked at the front page, and as you just said yourself, on the front page of that memo, it lists those Republican chairs. Were the Democrats CC'd at the end of the letter? Absolutely. She looked at the front page of the letter. She has acknowledged, we all acknowledge, this was sent to everybody. Again, what we're concerned and disturbed by is that Director Comey sent a letter saying, we have some information. I don't know if it's significant. I don't know if it isn't. He didn't say where it came from. He didn't say what it was about. He didn't even say whether these emails were sent or received by Hillary Clinton. And furthermore, another hypothetical that's out there is that these are duplicates that have already been released. We need all the information, and Director
Robbie,
Comey needs to get it out.
I want to make one more point about this letter. You say it's hyped. Comey sent the letter about 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. Your campaign chairman, John Podesta, put out a statement at 3:45 p.m. in which he's made exactly the same charge, that this letter had been sent just to the Republicans, not to the Democrats. 3 hours and 15 minutes later, Hillary Clinton makes the same charge. This was a talking point of your campaign, and frankly, it was a dishonest talking point.
Chris, if your question is whether Democratic leaders were CC'd on that letter, the answer is absolutely yes. What's disturbing about this, again, is that a 3-paragraph letter with no information whatsoever about what the FBI is talking about was sent to the individuals named on the letter. It took Jason Chaffetz about, 15 seconds to leak that out to the press.
Yeah, and what do you expect him to do? Sit atop it? You got to understand, well, first of all, Democrats dishonest in their response? Gosh, who'd imagine something like that happening? Look, what's going on here and what I think that the Democrats are trying to obscure, first of all, Hillary Clinton's problems are of her own making. She knew better than have a homebrew server. They went ahead and did it. Huma Abedin also had an email address on that server, as did, I guess, Cheryl Mills and a number of other Clinton associates. They did this because they were trying to avoid the prying eyes of history, if you will, and knowing that she was going to run for president, they thought they could keep a lot of their correspondence secret, hidden from history, hidden from government, hidden from the American people. Now they've been caught again, red-handed with what's going on, and they're screaming that people are out to get them. I'm sorry. Again, she is her own worst enemy. Number two, the fact that these things have suddenly popped up, they were there all the time, but they've popped up on Anthony Weiner's laptop. For those of you who don't know, and if you were on Mars over the weekend, he is separated from Huma Abedin, but they are husband and wife. The fact that these popped up on the computer he shared with his wife, this is a violation of the Espionage Act. Comprende? This is serious stuff. Comey had no choice. In fact, FBI agents doing the investigation of Weiner for sending allegedly some racy texts to underage girls came across this stuff a couple of months ago, and they felt they could no longer keep it from the boss, so they presented it to him. Now, technically, this investigation was never closed. And at that point, he had to inform Congress. Lefty doesn't want you to know that. Lefty wants you to think that this is just... And the FBI director works for Barack Hussein Obama. And we're now learning, too, as well, that there is a separate investigation going on of the Clinton Foundation. And guess what? Loretta Lynch tried to close that down for political reasons. In other words, to protect her fellow traveler, Hillary Rotten Clinton. All of you lefties out there, you know she's guilty as sin. And if you go ahead and cast a vote for her, then you are guilty as well. And let me tell you, from what I've read, it's very hot in the infernal reaches, and that's where you're going if you go through with this. 8:16, Bill Colley with you on Top Story this morning on News Radio 1310, KLIX and NewsRadio1310.com. You can reach our program today by dialing up 736-0300. That's 736-0300. Carl Bernstein of Washington Post fame, he and Bob Woodward helped bring down President Richard Nixon during Watergate. He was speaking on the Clinton News Network known as CNN, and he made it clear Comey isn't being political.
We don't know what this means yet, except that it's a real bombshell. And that it is unthinkable that the director of the FBI would take this action lightly, that he would put this letter forth to the Congress of the United States saying that there is more information out there about classified emails and call it to the attention of the Congress unless it was something requiring serious investigation.
There you go. In other words, this is not some political vendetta. And that comes from one of the most liberal reporters in American history. Meanwhile, a liberal newspaper columnist in Chicago is now saying Hillary Clinton needs to step aside and allow Tim Kaine to take over the top of the ticket. Later on, I guess if he was elected, he would name his own vice president, waiting or pending the approval of Congress. It'll be a little bit like when Nelson Rockefeller was confirmed as vice president of the United States following the Watergate uprising. I have a couple of thoughts on this because, you know, the denial that's going on currently in the minds of liberals as they try to process all of this. I know there's likely smoke coming out of their ears because they don't have the normal amount of synapses that the rest of us have. But clearly, they've got to start realizing that people are jumping ship on their own side. You're up next. You're on the air with Bill Colley on KLIX. Go ahead.
I guess it only stands to reason with what's been going on, how much longer the SS Democrats going to stay afloat. My thoughts on this are, I don't understand why in the world, if she is so deep into this stuff, is the DNC, why haven't they replaced her before now? The thing of it is, too, is Tim Kaine isn't a choir boy, all dyed in the wool, pure either. His governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, whatever his name is,
right?
He's involved in a scandal as well, and Kaine has been tied to that, I believe.
Yeah, they're all part of the same Virginia political machine.
Oh, yeah. And so Kaine's not exactly off the hook either.
Well said, and I thank you for the call. We have a break coming up, and I've got to do that, of course, in a moment. Just a thought. I was watching Kaine on TV over the weekend. You ever notice the resemblance between Tim Kaine and the character of the Joker played by Jack Nicholson? Look at Kaine's smile. You'll understand what I'm talking about. 20 minutes. Don't buy any makeup from that man. 20 minutes after 8 o'clock, Bill Colley with you on Top Story. Coming up in another 20 minutes, Randy Staples from Idaho Weekly Briefing. Also in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about a Boy Scout fundraiser with David Kirk. He'll be dropping by just after 9 o'clock news. Right now, it's 40. Mrs. Clinton's response to some of this over the weekend was, Donald Trump's a very self-centered human being. By the way, I sold state secrets to our enemies, but, you know, Donald's self-centered, so you should be voting for me. Yeah. Won't that be great? And I'll give you a lot of free stuff. And I'll make sure the courts rule in favor of all of the people out there who get free stuff. Won't that just be great? Take a listen to her. I kid you not.
He sat down in the seat that was being saved for a local developer who had made a generous donation. None of the people working for the charity knew why he was there. He wasn't a donor at all. He had never given a single dollar to help build the school. He just wanted people to think he had.
Oh, Donald Trump one time sat in the wrong chair at a charity fundraiser. Me, I sold the country down the river, but you know, that Trump, you got to watch him. Bill Colley with you on Top Story coming up on 8:25. I wanted to mention our friend Dr. Eric F. Jones, if I could, this morning. If you are perhaps having some difficulties because of this long election season, maybe overwhelmed, remember he uses a holistic systemic approach to wellness. He can get you better. He's been doing this since 1993 with master's and doctoral degrees in marriage and family therapy. Dr. Eric F. Jones uses methods of alternative healing. And I'll get to my telephone callers in just a moment. He uses naturopathy, medicinal herbs, nutrition, sound waves, intellectual cognitive self-regulation, and apathy. These help remedy and manage mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual challenges. Dr. Jones is currently accepting new patients with evening and Saturday appointments. You can reach him at 731-7178 or on Facebook. Facebook, it's Eric F. Jones, PhD, mental health and wellness therapist, and that's Eric with a C. You're up next. You're on the air on KLIX.
Yeah, good morning. The thing that's not brought out, that the connection with who's really running the country is, the Muslim Brotherhood. This advisor, top advisor, Abedin or whatever, that's Anthony Weiner's former wife. She's Muslim. And, of course, Valerie Jarrett, top aide advisor to Obama, is also Muslim. Her parents were communists. She was born in Iran. And as Philip Haney, that was briefly on your program last week, he spoke over the Friday night and at CSI on Saturday, and he pointed out that basically the agenda of the Muslim Brotherhood is basically the one agenda that's running this country. That's pretty scary, Bill.
It is, and I think that if you look back into her family history, going all the way back to, well, her brothers are still involved, as I understand. Her father was very heavily involved. What gets me is a fellow like Anthony Weiner would even, there were voters in New York City who are strong supporters of Israel, who apparently had no issue with the fact that he was married into that clan, which shows you, I guess, again, about the lack of a moral formation or foundation among liberals in America today.
Well, it is. It's really sad that we've come to this point. But Philip Haney, just for people that maybe didn't hear him last week on your program, he was a whistleblower for the Homeland Security, and they deleted 67 files that could have perhaps prevented the San Bernardino killings and slaughter out there. And so they've gone after him, the people, the whistleblowers, and they're deleting files.
Right.
And the FBI is deleting anything that has to do with Islam. I mean, it's a scary time. Who's really running the show? And our Constitution's under attack because they want Sharia law to replace our Constitution, and that's happening in cities already in this country.
And I thank you for the call. I think that also that notion that bout of political correctness is part of this. You're up next at 8:28. Go ahead. You're on KLIX.
Yeah, Bill, I hope you haven't covered this. I've been unable to listen to the whole show, but yesterday Doug Schoen was saying he...
I'll get there. Yes.
You already did that?
No, I haven't done it yet. I'll get there. I promise.
Okay, well, should I just let you do it and be quiet?
Yeah.
Or okay.
All right, super. Thank you. Yeah, actually, I have this list I make up in the morning, and sometimes people read my mind because it's on the list of topics to discuss with all of this. Okay, I've got about a minute before the break, 50 seconds. Let me see if I can squeeze it in right now. Democratic pollster speaking on Fox News, Douglas Schoen.
As you know, I have been a supporter of Secretary Clinton.
We all know, yes.
Right, you do know. And the but is a big deal, at least to me. Given that this investigation is going to go on for many months after the election.
No matter who wins.
No matter who wins. But if the Secretary of State wins, we will have a president under criminal investigation with Huma Abedin under investigation, the Secretary of State, the President-elect, should she win, under investigation, Harris. Under these circumstances, I am actively reassessing my support. I'm not a Trump...
Whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
You're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton?
Harris, I'm deeply concerned that we will have a constitutional crisis if she's elected.
Wow.
I want to learn more this week, see what we see. But as of today, I am not a supporter of the Secretary of State for the nation's highest office.
How long have you known the Clintons, Doug?
I've known the Clintons since '94.
So this is the final nail in the coffin for him. Look, we've got more of your telephone calls coming up on this subject. Right now, though, it's 8:30. Quick break ahead, 45. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Got a lot of guests coming up in studio with us this week. I want to point out just quickly Representative Stephen Hartkin, joining us in studio tomorrow. On Wednesday, Dr. Jonathan Tripper, one of the doctor's associates, will be joining us, and we'll be talking about medical issues and, of course, taking your telephone calls. We do that every Wednesday with Tripp Family Medicine between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. Better Health with Tripp Family Medicine, the office located on Fillmore Street, directly across from the main post office in Twin Falls. Still looking for new patients as well, and they can often see you on the very same day if you call in with an issue in the morning. And remember, life's too short not to feel good. And on Thursday morning, Representative Lance Claw will be talking with us about HJR 5, which I had a chance to vote on Thursday when I voted early. You're listening to Bill Colley on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX, newsradio1310.com, and you're on the air.
Bill, unemployment is high, especially among blacks. The people who support Hillary and Obama's open border policies, they help illegals get into our country and take jobs at lower wages. And once these illegals are trained at a job or a trade, many will have the job for 50 years till they get Social Security. Also, the suicide bombers can easily enter our country, and diseases can enter our country. Helping Hillary is suicidal.
Well said. And I was reading this morning, it was a big headline on Drudge. They are literally opening up the southern border. That is, your government controlled by Barack Hussein Obama, to allow these people in droves. And many of them, as it turns out, according to agents who are talking under anonymity, many of these illegal aliens are being held quietly in detention centers, but will be unleashed and taken to polling places 1 week from tomorrow. Telling you, of course, all you need to know. They have been told to go vote for Hillary Rotten Clinton and that they will be allowed to stay, and they'll get more free stuff from you, the hardworking United States taxpayer who's already in many cases had to give up his job or her job to these people. Now you're going to have to take care of all of the anchor babies they drop here. I'm telling you, folks, if there was a plan to destroy the good old USA, we are well down that path. Donald Trump speaking last night in New Mexico. Mr. Trump, I'll put it this way, he is finding some opportunity in the latest news.
The FBI has found, you're not going to believe this one, this just happened, another 650,000 emails. How do you get to 650? I think that's called the mother lode. I think they found them all. Hillary Clinton is not the victim. You, the American people, are the victims of this corrupt system. I've led a great life. Now I want to give back to the country. And this country has been so good to me. I love this country.
Now, according to one poll I saw this morning nationally, he's close to within 1 point. But the popular vote does not win the presidency. The Electoral College is what decides it. And if she still pulls out Pennsylvania, maybe North Carolina, it's a done deal. As far as we know, we're not going to see the voters in California where they're getting a lot of that free stuff. And again, refer to my comments about people coming here illegally and voting. She's going to win Oregon and Washington and New York and Connecticut and Massachusetts. And folks, again, future of the country is at stake. Glenn Harlan Reynolds, Professor Reynolds writing today in the USA Today, President Clinton would be out of control. And he says someone somewhere should have told her no. But who? That was the big problem with Secretary of State Clinton, and it will be a bigger problem with a President Clinton, because by all appearances, nobody tells Clinton no, and Clinton has no compunction about breaking the rules when it suits her purposes. This is what, for all of the people out there who say, oh, we can't have Donald Trump, he's a clown, and he's a showman, and you just heard his comments there. He wants to give back to a country that has been very, very good to him. I can believe that. I can accept that. I can buy that. I asked a question on Facebook today because a lot of your media friends are trying to say, well, only if the Republicans had nominated Jim Gilmore, or only if the Republicans had, they just keep giving you all of these names of other potential Republicans. They'd be so far ahead right now. Well, again, Donald Trump does what Abraham Lincoln said Ulysses S. Grant did. He fights. And after what we went through in 2012 with Casper Milquetoast rolling over and playing dead so Barack Hussein Obama could have 4 more years to destroy this country, I am so glad somebody is actually at the top of the Republican ticket this year who is willing to stand up and put up a good fight. We've got a break in just a few seconds. We'll be joined by Randy Staples on the other side of that. He is, of course, the publisher of Idaho Weekly Briefing. He's got a lot on his agenda. We'll be talking a little HJR5, maybe some Evan McMullin. McMullin somewhat receding in the news now after these latest Hillary leaks. Maybe your cousins and friends in Utah, maybe you need to get on the telephone and tell them this is no time to consider playing around with that mess. That it's time now to get behind the candidate who can take Hillary Clinton out and save this country from the criminal cabal that could be leading us straight down the roads to, well, you fill in the blank. Bill Colley with you on Top Story. It's 8:40. 45. And, of course, do want to point out Trick or Treat Street tonight. We'll all be taking part in that at our Town Square Media radio stations. We'll be getting there about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Of course, that's in the parking lot by Fred Meyer.